Hi everyone. Yep, it's story time, and plus a few updates. Um, so yeah, news and updates. First of all is the chickadee story. I mentioned that I bought a little little knickknack to remember that day by, and I said I would show you next chance I got. So this is it, and I see now that at some point in time the part of the beak broke off. I don't know when that happened, but anyway, but we keep it on the sofa table under the window, and along with other knickknacks too. And so I'm trying a little something here. I have the tablet set up on the bird table, and I'm leaning up against it. And this is for a few reasons. One, I'm trying to do these stories with the birds. And get them more involved in the story and the ambiance, I guess, but from different angles. So because it's hard to get all of them in the picture at once. And then I also thought if I had it sitting like this one might get curious and come over and get give you guys a close up, but it's been sitting here a while, and he still hasn't come over. So it may or may not happen. Maybe some other time. We'll see. And plus you can get a closer view of Lemon right here, and Milo's behind me, so he probably won't be seen. So. And of course, parakeets are behind the camera, so you're not going to see them. And finches probably won't see them, but I think you can definitely hear them. They're a little weirded out by the tablet sitting here too. So that's the noises you hear. Speaking of finches, a few updates on them. So the two babies, and they're not babies anymore, they're more like juveniles, I guess. They look like adults, they just not old enough to breed. Probably a good thing. We have names, finally. The one that I was calling two-toned, because his beak is both pink and brown. Mom and I both decided to name him Marble, because kind of it's got kind of a marble effect. Plus, marble kind of rhymes with warble, and he's definitely a male because he sits and sings pretty much all day long. And so, yeah. So, I've been trying out the name, and I like it. So, yeah. So his name is Marble. And then the other one I think is a female, and the one that I was calling Nostril, because she's got a little ring around one nostril, but I didn't want to keep calling her that, so I guess my mom suggested Zero, because it looks like a little zero, and because Zero could be like a takeoff of Zorro, her dad. So yeah, so we got Zero and Marble. And the other update I have on them is there is a new baby in the nest. Both Halo and Caramel have been spending a lot of time in there. There are other eggs, but so far just the one baby. its eyes are open, and there's some wing feathers developing. And the baby likes to sit right up front between Halo and Carmel, and no hiding in the back or anything. So, and when it hatched, I saw 3 or 4 eggs, and there's still 3 or 4 eggs. So I'm kind of hoping that this is a one baby family. But doing well, so that's good. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and a little bit of sad news, and some of you already know this. Last summer I brought you guys up with us on vacation, and so if you don't remember, or if you don't know, we go up to the Grand Marais area, Minnesota, on the North Shore. News came Monday, I think, that there was a major fire downtown Grand Marais. Destroyed 3 businesses that were all attached to each other. One of the businesses was a favorite of ours, White Pine North. It's where we got they had special coffee beans that you could buy there. Our favorite was the Snickerdoodle. But they had many other flavors that you can't get anywhere else. So that was one of our must stops every year. So all 3 businesses totally gone. The only good news is that there were no injuries, no deaths, and the building next door to White Pine North on the other side was Sven and Oli's, our favorite pizza place. And the firefighters, I guess it was really windy that day, and they worked really hard, and they saved Sven and Oli's with just a small amount of heat damage on the roof. So there was a very, very narrow alley between White Pine North and Sven and Oli's. So I think that's what saved it. I know the bank up there has started a fund to help out all 3 businesses, and they're still working on a official cause. One of the other businesses was a little restaurant called the Crooked Spoon, and this fire did start in the back of that building. I'm thinking probably a kitchen fire, but still waiting on the official cause. And I also in reading all the news reports that are coming out of there, that they're saying that with Grand Marais pretty much depending on tourists for their economy, they were already really concerned about this summer, and now they're dealing with this. So it's hello, RC. So yeah, I'm really hoping we get to go up this year. Right now, I guess all that is up in the air. So depends on how all this what happens with this virus and everything. So okay, so now on to my story. So when I told the chickadee story, I said that I was planning. My initial plan was to pair that up with a similar story, but then I didn't. So I thought I would tell the other story today, since it has a similar theme. So today's story takes place. Let's see. It was the spring after we moved into this house. So we moved in fall of 1986. So the story takes place spring of 1987, and I was in the 7th grade, and so I lived down on a cul-de-sac, and so you go out to the street, and then you go down to the corner. There's a white house at that corner. That was our bus stop, and so that's where us kids gathered every morning to wait for the school bus to arrive. And so while we waited, we'd play in the snow, or we'd stand there and try to keep warm if in the winter. There was a very small tree at the corner. I remember it was just basically it looked like 2 sticks in the ground, about, I don't know, 3 feet high. And I remember trying to I would try to jump over it without touching it. And so that was what I did to keep busy while waiting for the bus. That tree is now 2-3 times my height. Still 2 trunks, but it's now a full tree. So that tells you how much time went by. So I remember the story took place around, it was early spring, so I would say around March or so, March, April. And so one morning I'm sitting there, or standing there, and we're all waiting for the bus, and I was looking at the house. And I think at the time the house was a rental, because we kept seeing, we'd see, some guy, coming in and out every morning for a few months, and then all of a sudden totally different people. Sometimes there wasn't anybody at all, like there was nobody living there. And so I was, and I think we knew that it was during that time that no one was living there. And so I'm standing there, just kind of looking at the house, when I heard this sound. It was very faint, and I'm looking around, trying to figure out where it was coming from, and finally I looked in the window, and it was the garage, in the side of the garage of that house, and there in the window I saw the face of a little kitty cat, and I could hear it meow meow meow, and I thought that was kind of rather strange. Because we didn't think there was anybody living there. And then the bus came, got on, and day continues. Well, the next morning, waiting for the bus, and I hear meow meow meow. And then I look so I look at the house, and in the same window is the cat again. And I think it was after the 3rd morning that this happened. I was like, I really didn't think there was anybody living at that house. And if that's the case, that cat was stuck in there, and I didn't know any more of that story. So I think it was the afternoon of the 3rd or 4th day that this took place. Bus dropped us off, and I went over to the house, and I went over to the other side to the service door, and I couldn't open up the door. It was locked. So then I went to the house next door, and I rang the doorbell, and this older lady wearing a house coat answered the door, and I explained the situation, and she said, just hold on a minute. So she gets on some shoes and whatever, and we walk over, and so we were, we're trying to figure out a way into the house, or into the garage, because there was nobody there. And so she's pushing on the door, and I'm, we're like the doorknob's locked, or it was, I can't, it might have been, I don't remember if the doorknob was locked, but you could not open the door. And we're pushing on, and all of a sudden she started pushing on the bottom of the door, and that part was not latched at all. So then, so she's pushing it, and and trying to create a big enough space, and all of a sudden the cat comes squeezing in through that space. And I picked up the cat, and the cat was all huggy, and obviously really happy to be out of that garage. And she goes, "So who do you think this belongs to?" I said, "I have no idea." So I said, "Well, I guess I'll just start asking neighbors. I guess it's got to be from around here." So I start. So we walked back to her house, and she went back into her house, and I kept walking down the street. Well, I think the house, or the second house after hers, there was a bunch of kids out in the street playing ball, and they saw me coming, and I said, "Does this?" I called out to them. I said, "I just found this cat. Does this cat look familiar to anybody?" And one of the boys goes, "Hey, that's my cat. She's been missing for like 3 days." I'm like, and so I told him the story, and of course he was really thankful. So I handed her over to him, and he ran home with her. So then of course I ran back and I knocked on the lady's door again and told her what happened, and then I went home. And then the next day, I told my English teacher what happened, and she had me stand in front of the class and tell the story. Yeah, I guess it just, it doesn't always pay, but sometimes it pays to be curious and to follow your gut instinct and, I guess, do what's right, I guess. So, yeah, so that's it for that story. Obviously, like I said, a shorter story. So, yeah. So, I may do this again at in this position, and see if this one will get more curious and come down here. Of course, then he does that as soon as I say that. Hi, RC. Hi. Poopy butt. I always wanted to say that. I say that to him all the time, but you almost hit my arm. You know that. Yeah. I don't know if you heard that. Anyway. So. I made peanut butter cookies today, and so just keeping busy. Hope you all are keeping busy and staying safe. So I will see you around and see you on Sunday. So bye.